What's going on, everyone? So this is going to be a little bit of a different video from what I usually do on my channel. This is going to be the top 10 most infamous builds in ESO. So what I mean by that is a build that had a very big impact on the game at the time, or it had a skill or a set that was bugged so it caused mayhem, or it was just a really solid build and a lot of people ran it, like a meta build, I guess. This is something new for me, I guess, so I hope it turns out alright, and I've not seen anything like it done before, so I just thought it should be done because there's been a lot of builds that have had a huge impact on ESO and changed the game forever. So yeah, a lot of these videos are, actually all of these videos pretty much are from other people's channels. So I'm going to put their links, and not even their links, just the channel or the video link to their channel in the description. So definitely check them out, because there's a lot of good ESO players and a lot of good YouTubers in here. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and thanks for watching. So starting the list off at number 10, I have the Blazing Shield Templar builds. Now these had a time to shine in this game, earlier on in the game, not too early though, but a little earlier on in the game. These builds were pretty ridiculous, and they did have a comeback of sorts where they were strong again, but I feel like now in the game a lot of people kind of figured out what they did and how they worked and just learned to not attack them and not die to them. But in the past, they were really strong, and a lot of people would die to these builds, so that's why they made this list. So for number 9, we have the Overload Sorc gank build. And this build has been around for a long time, and I've seen it off and on. Back in the day, I guess it was more prevalent, and then you'd see it off and on, but recently a YouTuber named Blobs put out, I think it's called the Shock It launcher, and it's an Overload Sorc gank build, and I've seen it a lot more often now since that build came out, so I thought it deserved a spot on this list since it has been popular at many times. So for number 8, we have the Alchemist Swordslinger gankblade build. Speaking of Blobs, this is a video from Blobs' channel, and the build itself necessarily wasn't a Stamblade with Swordslinger and Alchemist. I'm not sure what the magblade version was, but the Stamblade version was the one that I saw more often. And I think Blobs is the one that put the video out for it that got it so popular, but I definitely saw it in game before he made the video. However, I didn't see the magblade version until he made it. So it definitely had a big impact on the game. After the video was out, there was so many people in the game trying to run this build and kill people with it, and they were just killing people everywhere. So that's why it's on this list, because it was a very popular build that had a pretty big impact on the game. So for number 7, I chose the Endless Ulti Regen and Bat Bomb builds, which kind of go hand in hand. This is something that took place a long time ago, I believe around 1.6, and I know that part of it, or not part of it, but at one point it was a bug, but also it was just how Ultimate worked back then, which caused people to get their Ultimate back insanely fast. So mag DKs, mag Plars, mag Sorcs could just stand there and spam Bat Swarm or Clouding Swarm, whatever it was at the time, and just keep killing people endlessly. And it's pretty crazy. Thankfully, I didn't have to go through it. So for number 6, I have Viper, velidreth, and widowmaker. Now, these clips are my own from Xbox, and this build, I can say myself, was absolutely cancerous. A lot of people ran it, and a lot of people just destroyed people. I don't have videos of it, but you could one-shot somebody if Viper, velidreth, and widowmaker procced all at once, which it did a lot of the time. Now, all these sets got nerfed into the dirt, so none of them are good anymore. But at the time, this build was pretty crazy, and I know it wasn't as popular as some of the other gank builds out there, but it was very strong. So it definitely deserves a spot on this list. So for number 5, I have Viper, Eternal Hunt, and Selene's. This is what a lot of people call the Morrowind Procalypse, not just Morrowind, but the Procalypse. And honestly, it was kind of hard to find a lot of clips for some of these cancer builds on this list, but the ones I could find aren't as good or don't showcase what this build and some of the other ones did to the game, because this particular build was destroying the game at the time. Everybody hated it, every Stamblade was running it, and you would just get destroyed. And if it was non-CP, like Battlegrounds, then you didn't stand a chance. But on the plus side, this build is mainly what caused everybody to complain to ZeniMax and what got them to finally nerf proc sets. Of course, they nerfed them into the ground, but it's better than it was. So it had a really big impact on the game, so that's why it's on this list. So for number 4, we have Black Rose, Viper, and Tremor scale. I wish I could have found more clips for this. However, if you played during 1 Tamriel or around 1 Tamriel, you know this build. This was the cancer. It had huge damage from procs, heavy armor, sustain, damage mitigation, crazy sustain from Black Rose. This build was crazy at the time, and a lot of people ran it. Eventually, ZeniMax nerfed Black Rose, they nerfed Tremor scale, and it's not a viable build anymore, but at the time it was absolutely epic, so that's why it made this list. So for number 3, we have the Reactive or Fassalas and Malubeth Templars. Now these builds were pretty cancerous, and a lot of people used them, and they were at a time in the game where we had the champion point tree that had cost reduction, so these builds could thrive during that time. And while I don't necessarily see that many heavy armor or specifically reactive Templars anymore, there was a time in the game where they were everywhere, and if you were fighting a group that had a reactive or Fassalas Templar with Malubeth on healing the group, most likely you weren't going to win that fight, at least if you were solo or a small group. So that's why it made this list. Very popular build, very strong build. So for number 2, we have the Camo Hunter Stamblade. Now this didn't have to be a Stamblade, but it usually was. I wish I could have got some better clips for this, but I couldn't find any because this was a glitch, and I think it still is. Either way, if you played during Thieves Guild or before or a little after, you know what I'm talking about. You're riding on your mount 1 second and the next second you're just dead. Now this still happens today. I'm not sure if it's a different glitch or it's something to do with snipe, either way. And it could be a health desync because of lag, I'm not sure, but if you played at the time, you know how popular and infamous this particular glitch was, so that's why it's on this list. So finally for number 1, we have the Bomb Blade. Now this build, as far as I know, was made by Cypher, and that's who the clip is going to be of. It's a pretty funny clip, and I'm just going to let it play out. But at the time when this build came out, it was really, really good. For what it did, it was perfect. It changed the way that people bombed Zergs in this game, and people still run similar setups today for bombing Zergs, just maybe with the Destral instead. Clever Alchemist, Vicious Death, it was just a really solid build, and it definitely had a big impact on the game, so that's why it's getting number 1.
Oh, these guys are stealthing back here? Okay, I can actually get these guys really, really, really good. I can get these guys really well. They're gonna be stealthed up for quite a bit, actually. Yo guys, what's up? My name is Cypher. Welcome to the stream. BOOM! Just wiped your entire fucking group. How do you feel about that?
So that's going to do it for this list. Again, I hope the video was alright. I don't really do this very often, but I just thought these builds had such a big impact on the game that I wanted to put them all together in a video, because again, some of them changed the game, some of them just were absolutely fun and gave people so many good memories. Some of them gave people some terrible memories, honestly. But that's about it for the video. Again, go in the description and check out other people's channels that were in this video. There's a lot of good YouTubers, like I said before, a lot of good ESO players. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.